Hey everyone, welcome to Full Grain Podcast. I'm Phil Callis here with Nick Horween, and today we have our favorite episodes, a Q&A episode. So Nick, you were kind enough to curate. You said 5 questions. By the way, anybody that wants to leave us a question for future Q&A, the best way to do that, what's the best way to do that, Nick?
I just went through and skimmed through YouTube comments.
All right, on with the questions, Nick. What's number one?
So this is from FRG317, and they, them asked, could we talk about variation in consistency in color and other characteristic changes that occur in the tanning process?
Hmm.
So I think we're talking about variation and color variation that's attributed to not finishing. So what's happening up to the point where we're working on the surface. That's how I interpreted it. What do you think, Phil?
Yeah, I mean, I think I would break it down as how much of the variation is caused by what things? Is it caused by the hide? Is it caused by the dyes? Is it caused by, tree barks? How would you break
Yes.
that down?
Yes, all
Yes.
of it. I guess we can go from the beginning, kind of. I mean, the hide, not so much, other than how it might take up whatever tanning components are going to be introduced. I think that the first place is the base tannage, which informs a lot. If it's going to be veg tanned or chrome tanned or some other, because you're working, in the case of chrome, you've got this sort of baby blue colored base, which you're then dyeing over. And then in the case of veg tan, you've got most likely some shade of light to medium brown. So once you've got those bases, I mean, there are a lot of things you can do. There are bleaches and penetrating pigments that you can use during coloring and retanning now. So there's a lot you can do to influence that, but that's really the first spot, especially when you're talking about the way we do things, which is more traditionally. So we're doing, when we're using primarily stains, then we can it's easy to make a dark color um, on top of a base that might not be very neutral. But if you don't have a very neutral base, it can be challenging to get something like a gray, like to get a neutral color.
Let me back you up very briefly. Something that I didn't realize, even after working there for years and years, I didn't realize how much the tree bark blend in the liquor that you tan with affects the color, and how certain tree barks are pure, maybe not purely, but a large reason to use certain tree barks is for the color itself.
Yeah, it imparts a lot of color. Yeah, it depends on the duration and the concentration and the product and a lot of different stuff.
Yeah. I mean,
But
you're dealing with the variable height, you're dealing with the variable barks. How much did the dyes vary in color?
a lot. I mean, it's dial. We it's there. That I mean, this is not industry specific. This is any textile fabric, yarn. I mean, it's all you buy things. I mean, even when you're buying like tile for your house or paint for your walls, I mean, there's dye lots. So, there's sort of an acceptable, or there is an acceptable level of variation. And there are certain points where you can adjust for that. But there definitely have been times where something will come out of the tanning process, something that would be drum dyed or mill dyed. So while it's still wet before we've dried it and begun to work on the surface, and it comes out and it's just too dark. And it's like, well, we can't make this order on that canvas, on that crust, because it's just too dark. So that means you have to start over. So I mean, that product isn't garbage. It's just not going to be. You sort of have to hope that either it's a product that gets ordered a lot in darker colors, uh, or it's I guess we've just developed a new color.
At Ashton, we struggle a lot with I mean, sorry, Nick, but the variation you send us, for example, on English tan Dublin, there's probably 20 different shades of English tan Dublin.
Yeah, you might get four in the same load.
Yeah. So as a manufacturer, and for any manufacturers out there, the way around that is to order full drums and just order a lot of the. If it's run at the same time, your chances of getting a consistent product are greatly elevated. But as we've run, Nick, we're going to our 15th year making wallets and stuff. It's crazy. But so
It is
as
crazy.
we've made things over 15 years, the color can go light, it can go dark. What I know the answer here, so I'm leading the witness, but what are the things that are making my English tan Dublin have such a wide range of color outcomes?
In that product, it's almost everything. So there's the tree barks, which are it's the Cordovan blend, so it's a really traditional blend of tree barks, and then it that's a very light color, but it does get dye.
It's almost natural. Yeah.
It's close, yeah. It's a little bit darker than natural, so you have a little bit more consistency than you would on natural, but not much. And so there's the dye lots there, and then we color match that product, and then we put this wax on at the very end. And once we put the wax on, we can't really do any more color matching. So depending on how that wax gets taken up or goes on that product, because it's a little bit different seasonally, the waxes can vary a little bit. The machine can put on a little bit heavier, a little bit lighter coat, depending on a million different things. Then you might get something that's a little bit lighter, a little bit darker, and then once we're there, we're kind of like, this is kind of the color. Because if you spray if we were to adjust at that point, we'd be spraying color on top of wax, like a thin coat of color to adjust, and it's a temporary solution because it's not gonna want to adhere to that wax. I mean, there are a few ways around that, but not many.
I'd say
So
the Chrome Excel and the any heavy wax product, you're matching two colors really. You're
that
matching.
was my next, yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
That's a
Yeah, there's the
challenge.
table. There's whatever it looks like when it's flat, and then there's whatever it looks like when you've creased it or pulled it up. And it's really it's not very easy to nail both dead on.
So thanks for the color variation. Luckily, we see some complaints. I'll tell you the truth. Like we have customers that are like, "Oh, this is a little darker. Oh, this is a little less. It was a little too red or not red enough." And the waxes tend to make the color go red in my experience. So it's a tough challenge color. So that's a good question. I mean,
Mhm.
so the answer for this questioner is sort of everything affects the color.
It can, yeah. I mean, in the case of Chrome Excel, neat's foot oil has the effect of sort of giving things a little bit of a green cast to it. But 2 weeks later, that can be gone. So that's
The
another
other funny thing is maybe if I'm recalling that neat's foot oil application can eat, for lack of a better term, some dyes that have been applied to the finishers apply. So it might eat the red. I think if that's what I'm recalling. Does that sound familiar?
usually will go a little bit red over time. But I mean, we're talking about things that most people wouldn't notice. I mean, this could all happen from the time that we sort it to the time that it reaches the factory. It could happen. I mean, if it's going on a boat, so it's not. So that's just an experience thing. Something we have to sort of adjust for. It's like the final sort of curing period that the leather's going through. It's just happening during transit, which is
Yeah, even like a simple
challenging.
example of let's talk about natural shell cordovan. So the unglazed raw natural is a much lighter, almost taupe shade. But once you apply the Venetian shoe cream and glaze it, it turns it livelier. It gets like a little bit more orange, even though that Venetian is basically white or clear and a lot of water. It's like something in there really makes it want to go orange and red. It's kind of fascinating. So the
It is.
finishes and even the polishes can affect the color greatly as well.
Yeah, and then that'll darken. I mean, that's veg in general will oxidize over time and darken a little bit, even in the absence of sunlight. I mean, UV definitely does it, but yeah. So there's a lot at play that's that's impacting color, especially when you're doing things traditionally and not. I mean, as soon as you start to use pigments and polyurethanes, especially if there's any color in the like polyurethanes, you're doing heavy coatings. I mean, a lot of this conversation kind of goes away
Yeah, you
because
just
there's a
cover
lot
it
of
all up.
yeah, you're just painting it basically. I mean, you're still contending with dye lots even on that stuff, but it's much more scientific.
All right, Nick, next question, or maybe should I be asking you these questions?
No, I'll just throw it out there.
All right.
Has Squid Ink? Oh, this is from Brian Shanks dash T1G. Has Squid Ink ever been used in tanning leather?
I have no idea. I don't think so, is my guess.
I'm sure it has.
Yeah?
I would wager any amount of money that it has been used to dye something at some point.
Well, that's an
'Cause
interesting thought, though. Is like where the dyes that you purchase are either powdered or liquid dyes. Like, where are they getting those colors from? I guess I've never thought too deep
I
about
mean,
that.
there a lot of them are there are a lot of natural dyes. I mean, I just heard my dad on the phone talking to that's a pretty common occurrence hearing my dad on the phone because his office is right behind this wall. But he was talking to somebody about this dye that you can get now that's made from algae, and it's like $100 a gallon. It's like some crazy amount. So there are a lot of different things that make things other colors. I mean, there's bugs and roots and stalks and herbs and
So get some squid ink.
indigo and there's a lot. I mean, there's a lot of different. We've used, we've tried. I mean, even just here, we've used coffee and we've tried all
Yeah,
kinds of, we've tried all kinds of stuff.
I kind of like the
Um,
coffee tan one, although it just smelled like
yeah,
coffee,
it did
like old coffee grounds,
the
like wet grounds.
slightly darker.
I don't
So
think
I think
people
that
know about that one.
no,
The
probably
result
not.
wasn't amazing.
No, the question has kind of a simple answer, but I think that it has a deeper. It's like a little bit of a deeper dive when you think about how long the industry has been around and how many things have been tried just because it's just such an old industry.
Matt, you want to be on
And
this podcast, Matt? Okay.
bring them in.
Come on in.
There's a question. Actually, he's mentioned in one of these questions. One second.
Matt is? Great.
Yeah.
I'll bring him back.
Oh, is he gone already?
Yeah.
Okay. He doesn't just
It's
stand
kind
around
of
and
like Jason
watch
Schott
you.
was saying, people just come in all the time and interrupt,
Yeah.
which is fine because they got questions, they need stuff.
Yeah. So it's an old industry, and if you think something could have been used, there's a pretty good chance that someone has tried it at some point. I mean, just if you just look through some of the old like manuals of just they've tanned salmon skin and like all kinds of they've tried a lot of stuff. But good question. You can eat squid ink. They use it in pasta.
Now that I've learned that I'm not allergic to shellfish, I can probably have that.
You have learned that. I didn't know that this is a new. You learn that and then unlearn it like every 3 or 4 years.
This is verified. I've had shrimp now. I've had scallops were the only ones that I've actually really appreciated. I had lobster. The only thing that really felt great to me was the scallops, to be honest.
Wow, scallops like a black diamond seafood.
What's that
Is
mean?
that well? There are many people that take issue with the texture of scallops.
I liked it.
Yeah,
It was
I
like
like.
a it was like take a mashed potato and just like fry the edges of it, It was
Yeah, they're
crispy mashed
delicious.
potato.
I think
Yeah.
they're delicious. Anyway, this opens up a whole new culinary journey that you and I can go on together.
Yeah, I can't have the fin fish. I can
That's okay.
still not have that. That's okay. You're not missing anything.
No, you are. There's lots of good stuff.
All right.
It's going to be hard to keep kosher though. This is a good one for you. This is from @MattBat. What leather would be best for a desk mat? Something that you would put under a mouse or keyboard and put a glass on that could have condensation. I have a PU leather one, which is fine. Would like to use leather.
Yeah, I guess it depends on what you're going for. If you want it to change a bit, just like a straight veg might be really interesting, although it could curl a little bit as it gets some moisture. I've seen that. We've done like little mouse pads in Chrome Excel. We've done them in Dublin. I think just like a thick belt weight veg, maybe like a waxed veg like the Dublin might be my dream. What do you think?
I mean, it depends what you want. I think that if you don't want to change it all, I mean, that's a different conversation. I think that the Latigo family is pretty good. If you want to be able to write on it with a pen and paper and not go through the paper, then you want something really dense. Like an Illini, like a really heavy Illini would be good.
Ooh, the Illini would be baller. Yeah.
Yeah.
The other
Would
thing
be-
I've been thinking about, if you like really want to do a crazy desk mat, is get some sort of suede on the back of it and do like a 2-layer. That kind of be the ultimate. The thing that bothers me about some of them, like the 2-layer stuff, is the stitching. You don't really want that like rubbing against your wrist. So I've thought about these for a bit, and honestly, man, I don't do them because it's so expensive. It's just like a huge piece of leather. So I always feel, we've sold some, but I always feel really guilty about charging the price that things have to be, which by the way, I want to, maybe we'll save it for later. But sometimes like it bothers me to put up things and price them where they like actually like how much it costs to do.
Yeah, because
Um,
you're gonna get one or maybe two per side.
yeah, and you're
Probably
paying like
one.
$300 on the side, so there's your $150.
Yeah. It's not that much work. I mean, depending on what it is, but you got to get enough pieces that you can find one that you can get a panel that's that big.
The other thing is like I've done mouse pads and desk mats out of football leather, which seemed like it would be terrible for a mouse pad, but it actually kind of worked. Like the laser tracking on the mouse worked fine.
Yep.
So you kind of use anything, but it just depends on what you're going for.
I sampled one a long time ago, trying to do for some genuine Horween products stuff, and it was Cordovan on one side and football on the other, just stitched around the edges. So the idea was you could flip it over, but really you'd want it to be football side down because it wouldn't slide around.
Yeah, grip it on the table. That's interesting.
Yeah, yeah, it looked good. I think we made two of them.
Yeah, good job.
Maybe we'll bring it back.
Bring it back. We'll make them for you.
Yeah, yeah. My dad has a blotter desk mat that's made out of the old calf, but that's really thin and it's backed. It has like a wood backing, so it's like a thicker. It's almost like a writing pad. It's not really like a traditional desk mat that you would put your keyboard on. And like I have like one of the self-healing like cutting mats on my desk. So to get something that's that size, yeah, it's 30. I'm looking at it's 36 by 24. It's pretty big.
Yeah, it's expensive.
Yeah.
If you want like Horween leather, it's going to be expensive. You can buy something else, get cheaper.
Maybe I should put them up made to order. You can just pick. I can just cut them as you want them. I have
What
whatever's in
GHP?
production. Yeah,
Yeah,
that
go
could be
for it.
cool. Okay, next question. HXC Marky Poo.
Oh, I thought you were reading a leather name or something, an
Nope.
acronym that I
This
didn't
is
know.
this HX. This is the asker of the question. Specifically, what do the stamp codes on the Horween sides mean? Obviously, not the square feet, the random numbers, and then letters. You mentioned date. Can you give an example?
Oh, you know what?
What are all the leather grades y'all use?
I'm looking at all my limited releases that are dropping tomorrow, but this podcast won't come out in time. I think I have an example that I can bring on camera, unless you have something within arm's reach.
No, do it.
All right, hold on one sec. Got a partial. Okay. So not the ideal example here because it's somewhat cut off. Every piece of Cordovan that Nick produces gets stamped with the Horween ink stamp, which is that oval shape that has been copied by other Cordovan producers. Thanks. I'm sure you love that. The other stamp that you do is the measurement of the area of the skin. So it has this particular one is 1.6 feet squared. And then it says Horween USA above it. And you did that maybe 10 years ago now because you had customers that are like, I need an authentication of like this came from your tannery. Although honestly, man, that's like kind of easy to fake. This is you should get one of those like foils. Yeah. Anyways, the part that's missing from this measuring machine stamp is the grade. I think this actually has a 1 next to it. Does that look right, Nick?
That does look like a one.
Yeah, but usually it'll have something like TR or SP or R. Or what else is there, Nick? Those are the
So
grades.
right so there's two conventions for grading side leather. So first steer hide, there's the old traditional way, which is TR, and then there's Satra. So the TR is three grades, which you just said, which is TR, SP, which are specials, and then R, which is rejects. So TR is the normal stuff. Specials are things that are cut little cosmetically challenged, but still cuttable. So we send them at a discount, sort of at a predetermined price discount that we talk about with the customer. And then rejects would not make that's something that we would pull out that would not go to the customer that placed the order. And then we accumulate those, and those would go to someone like Maverick. And the hope is that we don't have any of those, but invariably, there's a small percentage of stuff that gets pulled out that mostly ones in like one piece or two piece or three piece. It just depends on the size of the load, but there might only be a couple of those. And then Satra is 6 grades, which is really just a more granular way of splitting out what we just talked about. So TR really falls into like the first 4 grades, and then you end up with specials sort of at the tail end. It's A1, A2, B2, or sorry, A1, A2, B3, B4, C5, and D6. So you got different grades.
The D6
And
is our special.
right. And
But let me help the audience here too. Like, what's an A1 mean?
an A1 is something that's like 95% cuttable. I mean,
And
there's like
what's a D6 mean? Just to
a
give us the
D6,
scale.
I think it's is under 72 or something, or 75.
And
And
cuttable means what?
that means right. So this is how specific do you want to get? So Satra is a sort of supposed to designed to be a common language based on and to tell you how much like what your yield should be out of a given piece of leather.
Or given
And
shipment of leather, really.
right, well, given piece and then it translates into the shipment. So that it's all based around this sort of banana shaped pattern. Instead of just like picking something square, they picked this thing that was supposed to represent part of a shoe pattern because it's a shoe standard.
It's almost like think about
And
like your hand,
yeah, it's
right?
like it's like your hand if your hand was like
A banana.
curved. So it's how it's what percentage of the hide can you cover with this like funky shape, and then it gives you an idea of the percentage, and then a particular shipment is supposed to reach an average cutability of 85 or 85%. It gets to be a little bit of a game sometimes because you get well if you have an A1, then you can put one C5 in because they balance each other out. So the idea is you get a sort of a bell-shaped curve, like a normalized distribution of grades inside a shipment. And it's kind of overly complicated, if I'm honest, I think.
So what's the
But
average shipment supposed to be? 85% cuttable.
85, right?
So if you send a customer something that's 90% cuttable, do they give you extra money?
No.
Why
No,
not?
that's why it ends up being a little bit of a game. But if you send it and it's under 85, then you have to give them a credit. So it's like it's just I think that the goal is good. And I think that as soon as money gets involved, a lot of stuff falls apart always. But
I get it.
it's a good goal to sort of to create a common language. But everyone's pattern is different. So that arbitrary piece gets lost pretty quickly in the conversation of the economics of what are the yields actually inside the factory.
I want to give
Very long
feedback to
answer.
Satra because I'm sure they're listening and care about what I have to say. So
Absolutely.
I do not represent Horween at all, but I would say there's some unintended consequences of the Satra system. One of which is it takes more cost to sort it. So you're going to just make your cost for your whoever's purchasing the leather to make a shoe. It's going to make it somewhat more expensive. So I just think I've seen because you have to sort out instead of just sorting one load, you're basically sorting 6 loads and having all this extra space to create those piles and then account for them through measuring it. Just like cost after cost after cost.
It does that time.
Complexity. Yeah.
The goal, I do think that the intention is good. I think that it's supposed to do some of the work ahead of time so that there's less room for interpretation when leather gets to where it's going, especially if it's going, halfway around the world. I do like it in that if you split out, if when we send stuff that's split into those 6 grades, things are packed by grade. So you give a bundle of A's and you have a bundle of C's. So if you have the discipline to start with the lower grades and then work your way up, or use the higher grades for the bigger parts of the patterns, I think that part of it is
That's a
useful.
value add. That's a
Yeah,
value add for
I
sure.
like that. I like that part of it a lot. But I
It's
don't.
added cost though. I would just say
Yeah,
people like if you want me to sort it out from 1 to 6, like it's more labor.
yeah, it's a requirement from some customers though. There's just no. It's just become a thing. It's normal procedure at this point for a lot of what we do.
All right, I'll start asking for my stuff to be saturated.
Yeah. So we stamp those A1 A2. You would see
So I
those.
think I have a one here, but it's probably just mislabeled or irrelevant labeled.
Yeah, because the Cordovan we don't do those great. I mean, the Cordovan's different. Is its own. It's its own thing. Because they mean you could conceivably see two different types of conventions out there in the world now because we changed it not that long ago. Because it used to be switching over to Cordovan. We sell that by the piece and not
Well,
by
I
the
have another.
foot.
You keep talking. I have another example to pull out. One sec.
Okay. Okay. So Cordovan is completely different. We sell that product by the piece and not by the square foot. So each piece gets a grade, and that grade is based on a footage range. So extra large is 2.5 to 2.9 square feet. A large is 2 to 2.4 square feet. A extra large is 3 feet and up, and then it goes on all the way down to, you know, anything that's below a foot is a grade 5, and then it gets even smaller than that. So there's a bunch of different grades. So those are extra large, XL large, medium small, extra small,
Yeah.
extra small.
Yeah.
So
So I'm
you
actually
could see all of those.
that's why I wanted to show you. So I see
Right.
one here that's XXS.
Right.
Historically, was that a grade 5?
That was a grade 5, yeah.
And
So there's
what's XXS square footage supposed to be?
1 to 1.1 feet.
Ooh, I don't know if this is cut from the same shell, but this is 1.4.
But
But I
that
don't know if it's the
makes
same.
sense because if it could have been a small or an extra small, and if there was a blemish like right in the middle of it, then we would have dropped it down a grade. So it gets the you almost, when you're looking at Corvin, don't even want to look at the square footage on there
And I don't
because
always see this XXS. When does that happen? Like always now? Are you always
it's
stamping
supposed
that?
to it's supposed to always happen, but sometimes with the like the grade fives, which we accumulate sometimes, those might get stamped all without the XXS on them. But that is no indicator of the quality of the piece. It's just the size of the piece or the cuttable area of the piece.
Okay, there's
So
one
it's
more stamp. There's one more stamp that I wanted to help the person asking the question. The date stamp we didn't talk
Yep.
about. So this one says 211. What's going on there?
I mean, it's just February 11th.
February 11th. Why don't you put the year on them? That'd be interesting.
There's just not enough
Okay.
not enough fields. It's not. It's a very unsophisticated machine, and it's actually like one of the newer machines. It's just there's not a lot of, unless we're going to laser or do one of those like sort of like the ones that like razor cut into which we're not going to do
Uh,
either of those. It sounds
It
complicated, and
sounds really confusing.
it is a little bit confusing. And what I would say would be, it doesn't really, for the end consumer, it doesn't really matter. Um, and if
So like
someone,
the larger shells get an additional like non-linear premium because the larger ones are less common.
yes, yeah, it goes up. It's not a straight. We don't, we don't sell shell by the square foot. So, an XXS like that you have there, the per foot price is lower than a large. There, it's sort of it's the price scales up because the
However,
bigger
the
pieces are
quality is identical.
yes, right. Yeah. The But there's a premium associated with those larger pieces because you can make bigger things with them. They're more versatile and
You know,
there are
speaking of larger pieces, do you have the was it one piece shell belts behind you on the wall there?
there's only one left.
But like that's an example of hey, this is a XXXXXXL.
Yeah.
It's
That's two XXLs connected to each other. Yeah, so there are very few of those. But I've got some more of those teaser. I got some more one piece belts coming in color 8. They're not all the materials are in Germany, but they're not.
what's a one piece shell belt price?
The first run, sorry, 1 second. The first run was in color 4. So I just did the one color and those were 795.
Pretty
Uh
pretty pricey,
Pretty pricey, but I only had 12 of them.
right? And
So
that's like an accumulation for a full year of what you could actually make.
yeah. Yep. So I got 12 belts out of 4 XXLs. So two whole butts that were connected. I got 12 belts. I got six out of each double. So three. It's like the yield's terrible.
It's basically not a
Yeah.
thing either. You're just not
Right.
able to get those
No.
pieces of
No, I
cord.
mean, yeah. So I have the accumulation that I have now. That's yeah, 7 or 8 years probably of, and I got a dozen of them maybe.
Yeah.
And but those that so the color for the parts of those that were not made into one piece belts, I'll something will be made out of those out of the remainder wallets or something. But just those belts are just so hard to.
What's the longest belt you can get on that?
I've gotten 42s, so normalish. Yeah. I think the longest I got out of this was 41, but the way these were measured, that really fits more like a 39 because he measures from the end of the buckle, not from the base of the buckle. So
Oh.
the fit's a little bit different, but they're amazing belts. But there's one left, size 38, I think, which is a 36.
Oh, okay.
If you're the way you size belts, it's an Ashland 36.
Which is like jean size 34.
Yeah,
That's awfully confusing too. Sorry.
it is. There's instructions on how to measure on the product page, but
Hey,
they were
plug
awesome.
it. GHP, the Genuine Horween Products or Horween.
HorweenProducts.com. There's a
There you
bunch of
go.
wallets up there too.
You need to buy some more wallets for me, Nick.
I do. I've got this stack of leather right
Oh, for
there.
real? That's for me?
That's for you. I have to. That was we were gonna glaze the grain side of those and make some funky stuff.
Nice.
That was I think we had that conversation 6 months ago.
Yeah, we're really good at doing stuff.
Still sitting there. I look at them every day. I'm like, I need to do that, and then 50 things come up.
You know what? Your dad sends like every week. I'll get a bundle of leather, and he'll put. There's one on my desk over here now. Just says for Phil, and it just says call me, and it just says skip. It's just a bundle of leather. I have no idea what's going on. He just sends them over here.
Sounds about right.
Yeah,
That's
we got a
funny.
lot of good ideas in no
Yeah.
time.
To wrap up the grade conversation, if there's a customer specific questions are easier to answer. Like I want to buy shells. How are they graded? Then or I'm gonna you know generally the Satra stuff. I mentioned that sort of just because it's a thing, but most people don't unless you work for Wolverine or Timberland or some big some companies using a lot of stuff like that. You might not even really even need to know that information. All right, next question from Traveling Koala. This is another question for you, Phil.
Oh, good.
I'm thinking of making a backpack and wondering if there are Horween leathers that have less dye, bleed, / transfer than others.
Yes, is the answer.
I've seen online that folks say that Chrome Excel can bleed dye and stain clothes, but I haven't used a Chrome Excel bag myself, only boots. I'm not sure if this is just internet lore or whatnot, and if there is a way around it.
Well, there's a way to test. If you take just a tissue or white paper and rub it over the leather and take a look at your white tissue, see how much color has come off. Should give you your answer there. But Chrome Excel is so heavily full of oils and greases and waxes that it really wants to transfer some of the dyes that are in there, as well as just the oil itself, right? So you can test it. I would say the drier the leather, the less color crocking you'd have. I'd say a leather that has more finish, like a top coat, would give you some prevention, just like another barrier. I have something I was going to want to talk about is like my favorite thing we've ever made is sitting behind me here. It's a black Dublin bag that I'm a little worried about the color coming off of, even on the Dublin. But I think to some extent you might get color on any, like if you're wearing a white shirt, you might get color from just about everything, right? You're the
Possible. I
leather
mean,
guy.
it depends on. I mean, there are a lot of things that influence that too: heat and humidity and moisture. If it's all those three things in some combination can impact that, and even if the age of the product too. Because if there's a top coat, you can wear through that over time.
I didn't think of that.
So there's a bunch of different stuff. I think that the safest thing to do is to use natural, to use something that has no dye on it, and it'll darken over time, and you'll end up with a mid brown or a dark brown. But really, just that this conversation has been made easier through the whole raw denim revolution because people understand like, oh, that's just the way it's dyed. Like it's just dyed in a way that it's going to transfer some color for a good portion of its life. Eventually, it'll stop or decrease greatly, but there's just by using those natural products, the dyes and the oils that we use, and then not covering it up with the top coat so that it feels nice and ages well. I mean, all three of those things makes things more susceptible to. So it's just about being. I have a hang tag on my bulletin board over that says, "Use discretion when wearing lighter colored garments," so which is like all you can really say.
Yeah, that's kind of the answer. Is like just don't wear anything white.
Yeah, or just don't just carry it in your hand if you're going to be walking in the rain when it's 90 degrees outside if you're only walking from the gym to your car. I
Well,
mean, there's just like,
say more about the moisture. I think that's
yeah, moisture's big, and then heat is big, and then your humidity is sort of the combination between the two. All those three things are the main external factors that someone would run into like out in their day that could make things transfer more.
the moisture has such a large effect on the color transfer and crocking that you have two specific tests in your lab to test for that. You have a dry crocking color fastness crocking, same words. Yeah, you have a dry and
Color
wet.
crocking is color rub off on contact.
Yeah. So you have a wet and a dry test. It's like the wet is so impactful that you test both ways.
Yes, that's correct.
But yeah, I have so like Chrome Excel backpack. People have done it and they're incredible. I would recommend this person try it and just be not wearing white shirts.
Yeah.
But I have
And denim does it too. Some wax canvas does it. Especially anything like the burgundy, red, yellow, orange, like that family of products, those tend to transfer more readily and for a long time.
since we're doing self promo, Nick, you're trying to
Do
sell
it. Let's
stuff.
see. Let me see your Dublin bag.
This is my favorite thing we've ever made.
Cool.
So black Dublin briefcase, but it's got like teal accents. It's like a full leather bag, which is kind of crazy. So there's just like teal and on the liner for everything.
Yeah.
How much do you think a black Dublin like this would have color transfer?
A bit. Not crazy, but it'll happen. And it will after a while it'll stop.
Yeah.
But it'll get gray in the corners and it'll stop over time. The teal will transfer more
Well, yeah.
quickly.
So that's a thing about this shoulder pad has the teal to continue the accents. How much do you think that teal is going to rub?
Probably less than the black, but still some.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because it's a lighter color, it's Latigo.
Not so much oil on it.
Yep.
Anyways, this we were talking about expensive products and being like sort of, I don't know what the right word is, embarrassed about putting it up for the price it has to be. Like the outside of this bag is more than half the side. And then the liner is actually even more leather for all the stuff on the inside. So it's just like so much leather and then multiple days to make it. So somebody actually bought it and then canceled their order a day later. Didn't really say why, but we're trying to experiment with different tiers, and not to mention the hardware on that. There's $100 of hardware in the bag. So we're trying to experiment with what do people want to see on leather bags. And we did some that were unlined that were much less expensive. And then we did this full leather line one that's way more expensive. And then there's a middle ground too, which is canvas or non-leather liners, which is like obviously in the middle point of the price range. And it's just anecdotally from asking people, it seems like people are into more of like a leather bag with a canvas liner just for cost and maybe weight purposes. What do you think? I've seen some people doing leather bags with nylon interiors. What's your opinion on that, Nick?
It's okay. It depends
It's
on the aesthetic.
I worry about I've been trying to keep all my materials natural and I've been thinking about going nylon because I think the performance is actually there for an interior. Nothing gets caked up in there. You can kind of wash it out. But then again, it's plastic and it might not last. So
I think there's some pretty good of like the lighter weight, like ballistic nylons, like the woven, not like the really fine, like kind of like silky stuff. I think that some of those nylons are pretty good. But they have I mean, they definitely have they're heavier than like linen and, but I mean, they have their place. I think I like liners for bags that are lighter colors, like even like brighter orange or, because you can find stuff more easily. I mean, like stuff when bags are all dark on the inside, and especially if it's a deeper bag, you can't find anything. I find that frustrating, but
you mentioned linen
yep.
and I've been doing some research on materials and this is not deep research. Like people know this for sure, but the way that the denim in general is woven is just better. It seems like denim might be a good choice for the interior. It doesn't necessarily have to be like blue indigo, but just the weave of the denim might be a good choice for me. I might
Yeah,
think about that.
lightweight, natural denim with like
Stronger
that
weave.
brown color or like a khaki color. Be cool.
Well, speaking of colors, I have an idea for an Ashland video series where I want to take people through the full process of me selecting um, colors from swatch book from like Pantone books and then going through your different articles and selecting an article. I'm going to do like a full like cinematic style video of like maybe like a 5-part series of from the hide and like the conception of an idea all the way through your process. But I think I want to do literally rainbow colors for the guess right now is going to be like a Latigo cypress kind of blend, and then do literally every color, and see what people like. So I might
Mm.
come, maybe I'll get you on camera and we'll do that whole process. And like that's the ones that come to mind are like London Bus Red, right? And then there's the bold orange, which has also always been nice. Like just get those rainbow colors. And I already have the indigo, right?
Yeah,
Thanks for
yeah.
letting me
You
know
could
this bag. It's my favorite thing ever that we've done. But I have to show. Have I shown you the Cordovan bag?
no.
I have a Cordovan bag downstairs. It's crazy. And then we lined it with calf like M's Chrome Excel. It's
Does it
very
weigh
light.
50 pounds?
Not that heavy.
Nice.
It's shockingly, but that's another one where it's like, how do you even price this? It's so expensive.
It's so expensive.
So leather's a tough challenge for the price. Like people don't get it and that's fine. And like, I don't even know if I get it all the time. Like I'd wear the hell out of that bag. But it's like a $1,400 bag. And then again, like it's going to last forever. So if like I really love it, then maybe it's cheap. It's a tough one.
I felt that way about those one piece belts. Like they probably should have been more than I put them up for. I was like, they can't be more
Yeah,
than, I
it's
can't
hard.
charge $800 for these things or more. It's like, it just seems like, cause
You want people to experience it.
and I want people to wear them too. I mean,
Yeah.
sometimes people get stuff like that and they're like, oh, it's the idea is, oh, it's fancy and I have to baby it and take care of it. And it's like, it's the opposite. Like it will look better the more you beat it up. And I don't know. I don't like pricing stuff. I wish everything
It's free.
was free.
Just get the robots to come and run your factory for you and just reduce the price. You'd be good.
Let me know how that works for you. It's never going to happen. Not the way we make stuff.
Next question, Nick.
Next question. Okay, so I've got maybe we'll do like another 5 or 10 minutes.
Okay.
Because I've got a bevy of things from Chris Lee. Chris Lee said that he talked to your brother Matt Kalis, and Matt explained to him that every shell gets a little stamp on the shell side to indicate who has shaved the shell.
I'm impressed that Matt knew that. That's great.
It is great. And the question for you, Phil, was do you specifically look for shells from a particular shaver?
No, but every now and then you'll be like, wow, this number four guy like really nailed it. You know, you'll notice a number. Uh, you just get
Yep.
you make a mental correlation to some of them, but I honestly don't really look at the number too often.
Yeah, and then the question for me after that was how do we use those stamps to manage quality? And how many unique stamps have been used over time? I mean, one, not that many.
Yeah, I think you cycle
Yeah,
through
there.
them.
Because we only have, I think the most shavers we ever had at one time, way before probably I was ever even born, was like, I think seven. So we would never have needed more than that.
Well, we need to explain that. So shaving the cordovan is a critical part of the production of making shell cordovan.
The most critical, right?
Yeah, and given that it's so critical and it's paid piecework, so each person there gets paid for how many they produce. They need to make sure that they're not just blasting through them and doing poor quality work. You need to be able to track those back to an individual to make sure it's a job well done. So Nick would get his own stamp if he was a shaver. I would get my own stamp, and it would be just a single digit. And those get stamped with like a mallet into what would be like the spine part of
Hmm.
where the butt would be.
The non-shell part of the cordovan when the two pieces are still connected together, which if you don't know what we're talking about will make no sense.
Yeah, none of it. It's the flat part of the oval in the well, I guess it's not oval.
Yeah. So when we tan cordovan, it looks like a figure eight. And there are two pieces, one covering each part of the animal's rump. And that shell, which is the part of the product that we're after, which is a membrane that's inside the hide, does not run all the way over. It only exists in ovals. And so when you see our cordovan at the end, it is just an oval, the one oval, not connected to the center. But we do leave them connected for the majority of the process because it's one piece to handle instead of two, especially for shaving, because you get a lot more there's a lot more to hold on to because you're feeding this piece of leather into a bladed machine. So the clearer you can keep your hands, the better. So we leave those connected. So the stamp that we're talking about goes basically in that non-shell part that will 99% of it gets trimmed away at the end. So we can track who's shaved it because as Phil was saying there, it's a piecework thing, but it's also, it's for quality, you kind of get one shot at shaving. So if you shave too far, you put a hole in the shell and you end up with a weak spot. And if you don't shave enough, then you have to do it again. So we can find out who's performing which way, um, based on the quality check. And that check happens right after shaving, especially the final shaving. So the that embossed stamp is important. Internally, really not so important for people out in the world because it's our job to make sure that if it wasn't done quite right the first time or even the second time, that it would never reach you that way. Like we would catch that before it left the building.
Good question.
Yeah, it is a good question. Very granular.
Yeah, it's a deep one. Another
Yes, it is.
Chrisley deep cut.
Yeah. This is an interesting one.
Another Chrisley question.
Another Chris Lee. We'll give Chris one more here. Uh, for Phil, what are the pros and cons as a crafter of tying your product and brand so closely to the Horween brand? Are those relative pros and cons different now than when you were starting the brand?
Really um, inflammatory potentially this question. So the the pros are I love the leather, and that's really the whole reason we started doing what we were doing is to just wanted to be able to experience how the leather's changed. And I like all the stuff that you're making, Nick. And they each wear in different ways, so that's a pro. You can do different colors. You're next door, so if I have an issue, I just come scream at you in person. This doesn't really happen. But we have a relationship, and I have a history there, so I appreciate it. The negatives are it's pretty risky for me and for me to be responsible for my small team of crafters here at Ashland. You know, if Horween gets demolished or like some natural disaster happens, like I got a pretty big problem. So that would be a con.
I would say.
Yeah, and we do have some customers that ask for some non-Horween articles. We've had people ask us for Ricardo shells, which I know would drive you crazy, Nick. There's other, like there's a article somebody calls fog, I think, and it kind of has that waxed, like the white wax look that your vintage has. So we have people ask us for it sometimes, and we just tell them we don't have it. So that would be a con too, is like we're not able to give customers what they're looking for. Which is actually like a pro and a con, because I just want to make a nice thing. So the ricotta stuff, I think the look, sometimes they have interesting finished looks, especially on like the marbled things, but I just don't like the way the leather feels. I just think it feels kind of empty in comparison to the Horween shells. So I don't know if that's enough pros and cons. That's just kind of how I feel about it.
Yeah. No, I think those make sense.
There's also,
And
we have like a philosophy here of like, we're made in Chicago. Like
yeah.
this stuff is, it's like actually made here.
Yeah.
To break our philosophy to buy something from Italy.
For both, what do you view as the pros and cons of crafters using a supplier's brand to attract end consumers? Do you have a one-liner for what your brand promise is, and has that changed over time?
There's another Chris Lee question.
Yeah. That's a tricky one because you get people, I mean, this conversation that I've had a bunch of times where people are starting there's, I want to start a XYZ company. We're going to make this stuff. We want to use your product and we want to put your name all over it. And we want you to, it could even go as far as we want to buy stamps, or we want to make our own stamps, or we want to put the name on the outside of the product, or we want you to pay us to put your name on the product. I mean, it's from we've gotten all of it, but you know, it's a little tricky because we're an established name just by virtue of us having been around for a long time. So, you don't want people to put the name on there just to sort of use that just for the value add purpose of just like, oh, that's a record. I've seen that name before. I mean, that's part of the reason that people do it. I know, but you don't want to do that and have someone put that on product that's not, especially, I mean, it gets a little easier to talk about Cordovan. Like, you're not going to sell someone Cordovan and then have them make a $10 wallet and say, we make it out of this stuff. It's just as good as the Ashland stuff, and and it's just as good because we use this product. I mean, it's like, it's a tricky
They would
conversation.
also lose their ass selling it for that much.
Yeah, it's just a tricky conversation because it's like, like, we're in the business of selling leather. We're not in the business of telling people how to use the brand. I mean, that's just not, that's because that's a very secondary sort of, I don't know, challenge, I guess.
I always remember the language from your dad was that he's like, listen, Horween leather, we make good stuff, but we are not the star of the show. We want the shoemaker to be the star, right?
Yeah.
But if I think that's cool and modest, but at the same time, I think Horween as a word, as it relates to leather, means something now. Where honestly, like pre-internet, I don't know if it had such a cachet attached to it, but now like people will search for like, what is Horween, right? Like why are people writing this? So it's sort of like, okay, if you're buying this brand leather, like, you're getting a certain level of quality. So it's helpful for us, and our customers actually ask for it, man. Like, people want this ink, like, we make this way with that ink stamp cut in the center because people ask us for it. They want to see the branding, which is interesting. I think it looks cool. It's like kind of old school, but it can get a little gaudy. Like, I know there are people that I don't know if you've called out or your dad called out to me. He's like, look at this guy. He's made an ink stamp and has stamped Horween shell Cordovan like 40 times on a piece of leather. And I think you'd frown on that.
Well, That's a personal thing though. It's like, each shell gets one stamp, and you cut the product out of that shell, and then you get a little piece of the stamp, and like that's supposed to be kind of like a special, at least in my brain, it's like a little, like, you get like a special little piece of that, like that's part of the piece that you got. I mean, if it's just like, if it's on there 50 times, then it's like, I get it, but it's just sort of goes against my
It turns into
philosophy.
an e-commerce problem for us, and I imagine other brands, where if you are featuring that ink stamp and it's a product photo, somebody buying that product,
Wants
whatever
that.
they're looking at, they need to receive something that's the same. So it creates a manufacturing challenge for us because in this example, if I was selling, if I needed to make 50 of these, they'd all have to have that ink stamp the same way. And the Cordovan is not always cuttable perfectly where that stamp is. So
Sure.
it is a bit of a challenge as a manufacturer to make it consistent.
Yeah.
So I would say that'd be a negative.
Yeah. I think that I don't want to sound full of myself, but like the branding part of it for us is like, if someone's going to put our name, going to put a Horween, this is made out of Horween leather on a product. Like the hope is that someone looks at that product, and that either is a deciding, like, helps them make the decision, or when they're looking at the product, they're like, oh, at least I don't have to worry about the leather. It's not like I know the leather is good. So then I don't have to worry about considering that in the purchase. I can look at, how's this product made, and is it going to function for me? Because the leather I know is fine. So I think that's more of sort of how I think we fit into the whole thing. But I think it's
Yeah.
different for everybody.
I will tell an anecdote, and I don't know, you should tell me to cut this out if you don't want this out there. But I remember when Shinola was relaunching their brand, it almost felt like they wanted to abuse the name, which I think they ended up doing to good success. Is they really needed something to elevate their credibility. So they came to Horween and had like a movie studio come and film in the tannery, and they like really piggybacked on your name just to sort of launch their name into recognition. And like now, a lot of people know who Shinola is, but when that filming was going on, nobody knew what it was. So sometimes the name Horween is useful in that way.
I don't think that was unique to us. I think that I mean, that was is was is a very high powered company. I mean, they have a lot of resources, and I think that they did that. That was a multi-pronged approach. I think that's just the part that we saw. I mean, I think that they did that. I
Right.
mean, they did that by buying the Shinola name. They bought a name that was already out there, but they did that with a lot of different
That's
stuff they
fair.
did.
I'm
That was
very
yeah,
myopic about that
yeah,
statement. But yeah, they also made a great product. So it's not like putting Horween on any piece of crap is going to work. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And just like anything else, I mean, where they started and where they are now is a little different. So I don't think we have a single order from them right now, and haven't for a while.
Call them up.
We're
Yeah. Isn't that
here.
your job? Aren't you the sales guy?
We're 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 here. We're ready to go.
So you don't hunt down customers like that. You just wait for them to come to you.
No, we do. I mean, hunt is not really the right word, but we definitely, I mean, that's from time to time, the conversation, like at the end of the year here, isn't like, oh, how are we going to make our profits go up 5% next year? It's more like who are we not doing business with that, like, we really like, it doesn't make sense why we're not doing business with them. Like, they make a great product, and they've used us in the past, or they could use us. Like, what's the, like, why aren't we doing work for them? And
Who's on that list right now?
I mean, don't do business with a lot of people. It's a big list.
Who would you like to do business with? Give me one. Or do you not want to say on this?
Oh man,
We
it's
could pitch him.
it's
We could pitch him live on the podcast right now.
let's see.
Hey Nike, we
Yeah, I mean,
think.
I mean, Nike. We
Was that
haven't
who
done
you're thinking of?
any. No, that was actually not who I was thinking of. No, I would say that there are. Let's see. I'm looking here. I mean, there are. a bunch of places around the world. Like, we don't, I mean, there are people that we know and that we're friends with too, or friendly with, I should say. I mean, like there's Fight, we don't really do very much with Paraboot. Um, Heshung is a company, a French company that I think makes really nice stuff that we don't really do anything with.
Let's
There's
pitch them
a
right now. Why should they use it?
Italian boot company, DM or DME, makes really nice stuff. It's kind of like Danner, but made in Italy. I mean, there's a long list, and there's a bunch of reasons that we don't. I mean,
Give me your pitch, Nick.
I mean, we could just go down the list of cowboy boot makers. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that we, and whether it's delivery time frame or price point or the products that we make or where the style is in the world. I mean, there's a ton of different reasons why things work and don't work. So I'm not.
Well, let's clip this section and give them the pitch. What are you going to say?
I would just say that
Like,
things.
hey, Paraboot,
That's a hard one. That's a
they
hard
make
man.
cool stuff.
They make a beautiful shoe though. So I'm
Yeah.
not. I would welcome anything that we could do for them. No, I think that people. I think we get pigeonholed sometimes. Oh, these are the guys that do that stuff. They make Cordovan, they make Chrome Excel. So if we want like a waxy casual pull up, then we know where to go. But we do a lot of other stuff also, and I think we do it well. And especially in the last 4, 5, 6 years, we've developed a lot of stuff that is not typical for us, just by virtue of having some new brains in the building. And so I would just say that if you haven't looked at us in a while, then maybe
Take a swatch book.
look at some swatches, give
Yeah,
me
there
or
you go.
John a call or Skip and just let's talk about what there is to talk about. But I mean, we just like making nice stuff too. So yeah, I don't know.
Good answer.
It's a very passive sales pitch.
I know. Well, that's kind of how you guys roll, right?
Yeah, we don't jam. We're not going to jam it down. We sort of kind of have to let the product speak for itself. But
What's
that's what we do.
do we have more listener questions?
I think that's pretty good.
I got a
I
question for
think
you if we're done with
yes,
listeners.
give it to me.
So, Nick, you're a leather tanner, fifth generation leather tanner. You also have training as a chef, and some people may not know you did personal training, right?
Yeah.
So this is my ask. So I'm going to go to the gym after this. I've been trying to get strong. Used to only love running, and now I like the weights. I'm actually having a lot of fun lifting heavy things. My question to you is program me. And I guess, what do you need to know from, like, I could probably ask ChatGPT, but like, what do you need to know from me to be able to program me for like a weightlifting thing? What are my goals?
Yeah, I mean that's a good place to start. And then you have to see what are your goals and then what are your current capabilities. And then how do you go from one to the next?
So my goal is I just want to be able to live a healthy life, right? And be able to be around as an old person, get into some good habits now and enjoy myself at the gym. So it's consistent, right? It's a lifestyle thing. I've been really enjoying. I do a lot of squats. I don't love deadlifts. Like, I think they're supposed to be valuable. I'm kind of good with my goal right now is actually do a lot of pull-ups and dips, which I'm getting better at. But really the goal is just like longevity, like lifestyle, be around a long time for my kid, right? Based off of that, what do you think I should be doing today when I go?
Um, I think that if I were you, I would try to do how many times a week are you going to lift weights?
3 times a week.
I would say try to do a little bit of something from every part of your body every time you work out. So don't, like, there's like the old meathead, like buys and tries and legs and shoulders and chest and back. I mean, like you would just like blast those like in that combination. So like you would do one of those like that one of those groups each day, which I don't really like because then you're only doing it once a week. You lift to the point where you get massively sore, and then like the hope is that you're not sore by the time the next workout rolls around, I guess, which I never really liked. So I would do a little bit of something. So do try to do
Full body.
the
And like
full
how long
body.
should that take? Like,
An hour.
yeah, so
Yeah.
I feel like I'm there for
45
2 hours.
minutes.
I'm there for like 2 hours every time. It's
I would
crazy.
say I would say 45 minutes of 50 minutes of exercise with 5 minutes on either side to warm up on the beginning and stretch at the end.
And then so I've been trying you have the gym at
Which I
close
never do, by the way.
here.
I never warm up. I never stretch. I'm always like, I don't have time for this.
I do the warm ups now. I don't do the cool downs.
I've started to do a little bit more, but it's because
Yeah.
I keep hurting myself.
So
But
is the way to make it effective is just like do supersets and those types of things. So like I've been doing the squats and then like a chest press right after and superset it. Is that how you get more
uh,
efficient on time? Or how are you doing it so quickly? Is my question. This seems like a lot of different things to do.
yeah, so I do it a little differently. Like I like to do like I think about it as sort of as like push pull more if I can. So I would do like if you're doing bench press, so superset bench press with like a row. So you're pushing and pulling. So it's two different exercises, but you're pushing in one, you're pulling that. Because then you're not getting overly like built or tight in any one direction. You're sort of stretching back and forth, which is like this is not the way to get like massive
No, I just want, like I
bulging
said,
muscles or to be able to deadlift 1,000 pounds. Like
I
this is
just
just
want
like
to not fall over when I'm 50 years old and die.
yeah.
You know,
So that I, mean, I would
slip and
say
fall.
real life movements are good. Like dumbbell press is better than like bench press because it's like more there's more like stabilizing happening, which is more useful for you out in the world. Um, and
Squats are good to do, I'm assuming.
squats are like the single best. Like if you could only do one exercise ever, like probably squats would be the best because it's a lot. It does a lot of stuff for you.
Okay.
And then
How
remember,
about deadlift?
deadlift is good.
Okay, so I should force myself to learn how to do that well.
Yeah, so I do squats twice a week and deadlift once a week. So and I do I like two different variations of squats and then just like a regular deadlift and I just do. And then there's like a little bit of other leg stuff in there. I do just like stair climber a lot, which is sort of, or like ride the bike, which is kind of like legs also. But I think the biggest mistake people make is I mean, less now, but like you do neglect your legs, like it's half your body. So you should be spending like half your time on it.
It's the
Like
first thing I do.
all the biggest groups, all the biggest muscle groups are there. So like if you want to burn calories and get strong, like you need to have a good base.
Pull-ups and dips worth doing.
Pull-ups, yes, I would skip dips.
Yeah.
You can do a lot of stuff that does more for you than that and sets you up less to less to injure yourself.
Okay.
'Cause if you go down too far in a dip, you can hurt your shoulder.
Yeah, I noticed you kind of get
Yep.
yeah.
In
So with
the front of your rotator cuff, yeah.
pull-ups, I can't successfully do more than like one. So I'll do the assisted or
Yeah.
use the bands. What do you like more, the bands or the like little knee pad assist guy?
I like the knee pad guy
Yeah. Okay.
because the bands can go in between your legs and
Rack you a little bit.
rack you more than a little bit. I like the assist one because it's more repeatable.
All right.
And it's
And
this,
then
and you get the same assist the whole way up and down. Where the bands, it gets easier as you go down and harder as you go up.
so full body is what? So I'm going to show up to do some squats. Maybe I'll do the superset chest press with dumbbells and then a row and then pull-ups. Is that everything?
So I went to the gym this morning. So I did legs with shoulders, and then I did chest with back, and then I did um arms with abs.
What's a back? What's your back? Is it deadlift?
Pull-ups, fine.
Pull-ups?
Yeah.
Okay.
But
So
you
that's a full body.
think about it in like planes. So you got like if you do pull-ups, like that's straight down. So that's one. And you want to do one that's kind of straight at you, which would be a row. And then you'd want to do one that comes up from the bottom, which is like a bent over row. Because you've got three very different like your back has a lot of muscles in your back. So you want to go from different angles. And but squats are also your back and deadlift is also part of your back. And so you can sort of it kind of all works together. You just have to kind of mix and match and see what works for you, and then mix up the order. Like do legs at the end and see how that makes you feel.
Yeah, because I was doing first.
I
Okay.
do too, because it's hard. But if you do it at the end, it's a different. It ends up being a different kind of feeling.
Well, thanks, man. You should
Yeah,
come with. We should go together sometime.
we
You
should do
can
it.
show me what the hell to do. I feel like I get scared about deadlifts because I worry that I'm gonna just like literally break my back.
It's
Like
safe.
if I do it
I think
wrong.
they're safer than squats because if it's too heavy, you just let go and it just goes to the floor. Where a squat feels much more precarious to me, especially as you start to get heavy. I mean, you can always just like push it behind you and walk forward, but that seems like if you're at a
I got the
gym,
there's the safety arms that you just kind of fall on the floor and you're good. You know.
yeah, I don't use
All
those.
right. You should use them, man. All right. Thanks for the off topic.
Yeah,
Maybe somebody will find that helpful. It's helpful for me. I feel like an idiot. Like I go and I'm like, what do I do? And you just kind of figure it out and like watch videos, but you never really know like if you're doing something
yeah.
valuable. And I
I
don't
mean,
want
the
to pay for a
biggest,
trainer because I also go there to not talk to anybody is my goal.
yeah, the biggest part of it is consistency. Like if you can build yourself a schedule where it's repeatable and you're going all the time and you're enjoying it, then everything else will. I mean, that's like the number one thing. It's what a consistency, intensity, duration. I think that's the order. So you got to do it, and then you want to be more intense, and then you can go up in duration.
Cool.
I
Thanks.
think that's right. Maybe I've got those second two swapped, but anyway, everyone's
Thanks, Nick.
different. Everyone's got different goals, different body.
Yeah, give us feedback if you guys want to hear more Nick weightlifting bro talk. We'll talk about it next time.
Also, I was a personal trainer, no less than 17 years ago, 18 years ago. So
The
maybe the
science has
science has
changed.
changed.
All right, thanks for another Q&A, Nick. And thank you
Thanks.
everybody for leaving us the questions. Leave the questions in the comments for this video for the next one. It's Nick and I talk about this every time. It's our favorite thing to do is a Q&A.
It's
So
fun.
appreciate you guys. Until next time, hope you have a good one and take care.
Bye.
See you later.